During the Cold War, Richard Nixon operated on a calculated gamble. If he could convince the Soviets he was volatile enough to use nuclear weapons, they would be too terrified to call his bluff. This strategy, known as the Madman Theory, relies on the target believing that the person across the table is momentarily and unpredictably unhinged. For nearly a decade, the international community has struggled to determine if Donald Trump's erratic, explosive behavior is a masterful revival of Nixon's playbook or something else entirely. That debate reached a sudden conclusion in June 2026. After months of escalating threats, the United States and Iran bypassed the brink of war to sign a massive, historic memorandum of understanding. The breakthrough didn't come from a new team of diplomats. Instead, the Iranian negotiating team added senior psychologists to their inner circle to analyze the president's behavioral patterns and craft messages passed through mediators. When an adversary stops viewing a leader's behavior as a political performance and starts managing it as a clinical reality, the traditional rules of global power are upended. Political scientist Roseanne McManus frames this shift through two distinct types of perceived madness. Situational madness is the tactical sweet spot. Appearing irrational on a specific issue builds credibility, making adversaries believe you'll fight, leading to winning negotiations. But dispositional madness is a liability. If perceived as fundamentally irrational everywhere, adversaries can never trust you to keep a deal. Identifying where Donald Trump lands on this spectrum is no longer an academic exercise. It is the variable that dictates whether a foreign power should yield to a leader's threats or begin a campaign of psychological manipulation. Hard data from the 2019 Griffith Research Project provided the blueprint for this transition. Experts systematically measured the reputations of 104 global political candidates. Standard populist leaders share a recognizable profile on the Big Five personality traits: high extroversion and exceptionally low agreeableness. Trump's data shows a massive deviation from even that norm. His scores represent a statistical extremity, placing him in a category of his own. The study also applied the dark triad inventory, measuring socially malevolent traits. On these axes, Trump registered as an outlier among outliers. His peaks in narcissism and psychopathy were recorded at levels rarely seen in mainstream political figures. By April 2026, foreign psychological societies were openly identifying these same metrics. An open letter from Iranian psychologists warned that this specific combination of extreme narcissism and impulsivity posed a direct threat to world peace. For Iran's leaders, the conclusion was clear. Trump wasn't using situational madness as a tactic. He was operating from true dispositional madness, and that required a complete shift in their strategy. At the start of the 2026 Islamabad talks, Iranian negotiators officially moved past traditional diplomacy. Their psychologists began vetting every proposed text for the Memorandum of Understanding. They abandoned policy arguments to focus on managing the president's behavior, stripping away aggressive counterthreats in favor of language designed to appeal to his documented need for admiration and historical legacy. The results were immediate. By treating the negotiation as a clinical management exercise rather than a contest of wills, Iran saw the president's responses improve and secured a deal that seemed impossible just weeks prior. Within the U.S., the Goldwater rule prevents psychiatrists from diagnosing public figures from a distance, effectively creating a domestic blackout on presidential psychoanalysis. But foreign adversaries have no such ethical limits. They are actively weaponizing clinical data to outmaneuver American leadership. Traits that were once thought to be an unpredictable shield for a leader have now become a chartable vulnerability. The Madman Theory has been inverted. Acting the part might intimidate an opponent, but genuinely possessing those traits ensures your enemies will simply hire the right experts to map your mind and contain you.